Welcome back. Mark Golin, you don't have no integrity. You don't have no integrity. Remember, you put out a bulletin last week. How comes Jamaica now go keep the parliamentary session and you have parliament and 2 o'clock online 2 o'clock. You know, same change the time. Him change the time to 8 o'clock this morning and doing parliament thing. Me not even watch it, you know. But you know, me as a man, me not really purpose to watch it. Me just never wake up yet. Because me not even know the time it change. One thing me glad say, people interested in a parliamentary proceedings nowadays. One time, nobody cares. Now I have a TikTok video for preview. And the reason I make a preview that TikTok video because I watch the Integrity Commission oversight people them this morning. You know, so PNP they upon it, Labour they upon it. I don't have to call out the name them. I go play that video there this morning from the parliament. But before I play that video there, I go want to hear where the TikToker liar them have to say. Because remember, you have the parliamentary them and some of them are liar. But you have the TikTokers them and some of them are liar also. So we're going to play the TikTokers them part first before I play the parliamentary them part. Me only sorry say me never get for tape Wami part. Because me know say Wami I got answer some real I got show some real punch. But anyway, them decide something there. There was a decision that was made. So the TikTok liar them decide say, okay, these people are wrong. The TikTok liar them something really wrong with them. Just like how Cliff Hughes tricked them. Yesterday morning, Cliff Hughes tell them say 40% of the country, 40% of the country, 44% of the country say the people of the country say the country is not heading into the right direction. So them jump up, them lift up Cliff Hughes, them put Cliff Hughes clutches on them neck, and them run with him. The same Cliff Hughes, you know, come 5 o'clock, come telling us, regardless of what one want to say, the best person to lead the country right now at the poll was Andrew Onis. Them turn against Cliff Hughes immediately. But me just want you to listen to the TikTok liar them. I'm going to listen to the people them on the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee. You understand me? And you tell me which part of the country I go, where we going with this country. Remember, Sir Mark Golin put out a bulletin, so there was no parliament to be kept today. So he mislead the country again. Will he resign for that misleading? Labour now look upon him. Yeah, Labour now look upon him. Parliament in session as we speak at this moment. So they had to move up the time from 2 p.m. up till 8 a.m. this morning. Just listen to the TikTok of them and listen to the parliamentarians them, and you can tell me what you think of the PNP supporters, because these are not really the PNP hierarchies. These are the supporters where they hearted. Listen to these people carefully.
We're all in limbo. We are
listen me no matter if I say this one we wying on for him at the head and him to resign at all election.
But remember saying But Mr. Sydney, remember somebody light up on the same pillar with them at night time. So they that probably just as damaging.
A bird in your hand better than your bush. A bird in your hand more than me die. Him with the pan. I mean now
but she's also the speaker of the house.
That's true.
Make we see if she come at Parliament this afternoon.
Big fight where they out there and then talk about bombing this and that and you know coming for a truck now, water truck now, nothing. Brethren, we ain't gonna pay you and you not get wet. That's all me know.
Jay, there was a letter issued by the PSOJ yesterday. I don't know if you can find it and read the content. Make we put it in context based on what has happened in Parliament today. Just look for that letter from PSOJ.
I saw it, but it might as well them did keep their mouth closed.
Yeah, because
basically what they must say is that they must allow the law to take its course, and that's basically it. Well, see the law take its course, so them shut it down.
Okay, so in shutting down the law, now them shut down the private sector organization of Jamaica.
But the private sector is in collusion with the government.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I want everybody to hear
what Jay say now is the private sector want the FID go the full length forget the investigation for buy time so Andrew can come out of power or win back. That is what them ask her. But so them not in favor for we now for go up on the street and abandon parliament. Them want we feel load the FID if it drag you out. That not gonna happen.
Yes.
The private sector make you say I show him labor right
But the parliament is locking down the FID and the IC going any further.
So we know that now.
So there's a crisis.
Right, so we're not take part tonight now.
This is where we have to call upon the award. Just a second, the award. This is where we call upon corporate Jamaica and those in the diaspora, you know, because let me tell you something. The private sector Jamaica going on back Andrew, you know, because they want to keep Andrew in a power, keep him in a power, so they go fund him. So this is where the diaspora and corporate Jamaica, we have to support our party.
Yes.
And we have to donate and help our party.
100%.
Yes, we have to make donations available so we can fund, we campaign when them say a road time.
Yes.
People have to fund because me I tell you the private sector go pumping money in the government and give Andrew and the MP them for campaign as wrong as them is. So we are call upon the private and corporate Jamaica and the diaspora. I think there is a link, you know. I think the government provide a link where persons can donate. Me have to go post it on my page.
You mean the PNP?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, man. Let me see if I could find it. Yes, your donations, your impact. You can scan the barcode, make your little donations.
Me go screenshot it because me go post it everywhere in all of the group them.
Yes.
Because we have to fight. And we are the people have to fight for Jamaica. Because they hijack the blows and skirt. Boy, me I tell you, me so sad. Me can't sleep at night time again.
Yes. So we are asked for donations because the PSOJ, the private sector, go on continue back the government because obviously they're in collusion with the government. So are we, you understand, persons in the diaspora, the ordinary people. That's why when I hear the labor rights, them talk about, oh, we are begging to collect money at conference. Now listen to them. Them have the coffers for thief and rob. And we have to give we little $1 and $2. So that's when the time comes to hit the road. We MP and we councillors them can have a little money, can do them little campaigning and get the people them for, you know, and the day election for buy them little gas, do them little thing and things. So we are asked corporate and the diaspora to see what you guys can do. Follow the link. Scan the barcode, it no matter little $10, $20, $5, and it will go directly to the coffers of the People's National Party. And every day, you know, we put it out there, contribute to our party. So that's whenever them call the election, we have little money can rally pan. If I'm to pay gas, to pay the people, you know what I mean? So
we have to turn out a campaign to tell the people them not to dip their finger and nobody ink.
Them know better than that.
Money. We have to do a campaign on that, man. So my people get desperate and do it.
Them know better than that.
I hope this time around.
Somebody take off Daddy's strength off from a platform, moderator. I don't know, block him or mute him or something. Come off from a page, please. I don't like Suno, especially.
Mute him. When they can't hear you and can't contribute, it hurts them. Mute them.
If something we check out, and a big prime minister and the government, and somebody, if somebody say check out this thing, check it out and show it, say why the person's win at the right, you know. You can't shut it down. When you shut it down, it's show the things. Show the things, say why see it here, you know. Each we know wrong. So, alright, since soon as say with this then, show it up then, man. Why you shut it down for? Why you shut it down for?
On the weekend, they say, I saw these people going through.
Hello, me talking. Don't shut it down. You can't shut down a thing like that, man. All you have to do, show it to boy people see it, me not guilty, and my prime minister guilty, and the government not guilty. Until you shut it down and come like say, you're guilty, man.
Them a hide
What are you voting
something.
down for? Yeah, show it, man.
Hide them a hide something. But let me tell you something. The level of just listening to them, the arrogance, especially by Marlene Malahou and President Charles Jr.
Right.
And the way how the Justice Minister backed the corruption. You swear think the Integrity Commission no find nothing against the Prime Minister.
That me I say. Like say them wrong from beginning to end. They not show nothing at all of those wicked or no wicked and put this on the Prime Minister.
What I'm even looking at, Uncle Sidney. All right. Say for example, the Integrity Commission would have do something that them should not have done. If the government means the country well and them is about integrity, call out the Integrity Commission and say, listen, this is where we went wrong. We see where we are head. We see someone try to fight corruption, but guess what? Next time, you can't do this and you can't do that.
Right.
We are going to allow the investigation to continue, but this is not the approach you should have made. Yes, this is what you should have done. As lawmakers who want best for the country, but don't shut it down, don't block it and say them can't go further with it. Because it will show up the Prime Minister. You don't do that.
You know what happened? How much money spent and you get overseas man people them come here and when you take a start no go so all that stupidness they not talk making I know everybody understand like me and you and panel there so we understand. Enough people are here we are listening and them are weird say boy don't know them a tell like on the man. Talk how the thing go.
Listen. If the Prime Minister not have nothing to hide, them don't need to block the agency always talks with the responsibility to do the investigation. Because the question and the only question which is from the IC to the Prime Minister is where you get your riches from. Prove to us where you get your riches from. Because blocking it does not let them verify the Prime Minister. And then public perception will continue to say that the Prime Minister is guilty of something.
But that is
exactly. You cannot have a Prime Minister in office with a cloud like that hanging over his head.
But that is exactly what is happening, Uncle Blair, because no matter what they do, the Integrity Commission is not going to certify. So they could have blocked as much as they want. Me know persons like Greg Christie and the rest of them we have integrity who belongs and serve on the integrity IC. They are not going to put them integrity on hold like Andrew Holness. They are going to do the right thing, and if it means that the Integrity Commission are going to mash up and see if them integrity, them are going to do it. Me not think them are going to certify Andrew and tail.
And the world,
and what I am afraid of, Jay, what I am afraid of is to suppress the Integrity Commission and the Financial Investigation Department in front of our partners, our international partners, who is looking on. It does not stand good for Jamaica in the international and the global affairs.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
Because question will have to be asked, why didn't you allow the agencies to do their investigation, and if he's guilty, he's charged. If he's not guilty, he's exonerated.
Yes,
but you cannot have it both ways.
Just a second there, Barry and Uncle Blair.
Yes, Barry.
Just a second there. It's now 6 minutes to 2 o'clock. Parliament is going to start at 2. I want everybody over here because I'm going to try and stream it live so we can all hear what is happening in Parliament concerning the IC. But I want everybody just pause and share up the live to at least one person. Just pause for a second and share it to one person. Let us get the people over here.
Jamaica. It's contrary to the rule of law. It doesn't matter how we feel. Offenses are not made out on emotions. They're made out on evidence. And the evidence has to meet a certain standard of proof beyond reasonable doubt applied against the law. So I share the concerns of those who have expressed the view that there are many questions that require answer in how the Integrity Commission has performed its duties. And I say that, Chairman, because so important is the work assigned to the Integrity Commission. So important is integrity in public life and the fight against corruption, that we cannot afford to have this institution that is entrusted with this critical work to itself come on the cloud. Because it too is subject to the law, because no one is above the law. That you must enhance public confidence, and matters must be dealt with in a manner which achieves, among other things, fairness. So when you are entrusted with certain powers, there is no place for exuberance. There is no place for unfairness, because the work is so critical. And for me, I would like to hear more. But beyond that, not having observed the convention of running a proposed motion through the chair where it could be looked at, I just say that at paragraph 6.12 of the report on page 149, in the conclusions and recommendations, what is set out there says the DI, meaning the Director of Investigation, concludes that on the basis of the analysis conducted on Mr. Holness's and Imperium assets, liabilities and income for the year 2021, there does not appear to be any unexplained growth in net worth. And then it goes on to speak to 2022, however. So the motion as presented by Member Robinson, which speaks to 2021 to 2022, 2019 to 2021.
2022.
No, the motion. The motion. I crave the chairman's.
Reference here. 2022.
Right. So the motion speaks to the years 2019 to 2022, and I understand where that has come from, because it repeats the heading of the letter sent by the Commission. But that is not the entire vein of contention in light of what is contained here, because it's not my words, but the words say that for that year, whatever it is that they're investigating and inquiring into, there does not appear to be anything there.
But continue this.
It says,
no, 2022.
I said yes.
Right, so
no, I'm acknowledging that. I'm not,
okay.
It is what it is there. It's not, I'm not making it up. I'm not changing it. I did say it went on to speak to 2022. Yeah. However,
yes.
Right. But it requires us going through the report, sifting out what is not in contention from what is in contention. And it's not about a cloud and the innuendos and all of that. And that is where I have some problems. It's not the what of the investigation, but it's the how of it. And so, for me, I am not in support of the motion for the simple reason that the Integrity Commission does not require my approval or the Parliament's approval to refer the matter to the FID because it has the power, and from all indications, it has already exercised that power. I join my colleagues in repeating the critical importance of audience with the commissioners. And I remind that the law does say that the commission is accountable to the parliament in spite of any proviso that is set out there. Because this matter is way too important for anybody to be flexing any muscle or giving any indication that questions that naturally arise should not properly be answered. Chairman, I look forward to the commissioners coming. They have not yet come before us in spite of the requests that have been made repeatedly for that. So I continue to interrogate the report, not only as a member of this committee and the parliament, but because it is a matter of critical importance.
Thank you, Member Malawuford. Now, we have spent a full hour on, please, yes, on this motion, and in looking at the motion, we have effectively reviewed much of what is in one of the reports, bearing in mind that we have three reports. Now, remember, we do have a parliament to deal with at a later on, and this committee has a timeline at which we have to conclude our deliberations today. So I would like for us to bear that in mind in the final round of discussions on this motion, that we bring that to a finality. I'm given to the comments made by members with regards to the need for further and better particulars on recommendations in the report and so on. And I am giving consideration to that in relation to taking it further insofar as the commissioners are concerned. So I'll rule on that at the end of the meeting. But suffice it to say that we cannot continue this element of the debate indefinitely. So we will have one further round and then we conclude.
I want to make 2 points. First, heavy weather has been made about the length of time related to the investigation. And it is important to make a distinction that there are 2 investigations that took place. The first investigation dealt with the failure to declare 4 bank accounts. That was adjudicated by the Director of Corruption Prosecution, who indicated that she did not see the basis to proceed with a charge, and that was closed. The second investigation, and I want to define what illicit enrichment means. Illicit enrichment means if a declarant has assets disproportionate to his or her lawful earnings. So I don't want us to put the 2 investigations and say, well, they've been going on for 3 years. No. One dealt with failure to declare accounts, and that was closed. The second deals with illicit enrichment, which is assets disproportionate to one's lawful income, right? And that is the one that the gravamen of this motion addresses, because the Director of Investigation has said he is unable to form a conclusion, due in part to the failure of the declarant to provide information about his expenses, and that the Integrity Commission goes further to say that they are unable to certify without the completion of the investigation of the FID. So I just want the distinction to be made about the 2 investigations and what illicit enrichment refers to.
Yes, Chairman. Member Robinson has effectively dealt with both issues I wish to raise. I just want to, for clarity, make sure that the member is aware of the section of the law that really deals with illicit enrichment and on which the Prime Minister's attorneys have already acknowledged in public that at the meeting of the 31st of August, they were quite clear that the section of the law, section 14.5 of the CPA, was a matter at hand to which they addressed. So that is quite clear. The question I wish to ask now, Member, Chairman, you had indicated that the commissioners had accepted an invitation to appear before the committee. We are meeting next week, Tuesday. Is that the meeting where the commissioners will be present? Is it Tuesday or Thursday?
We are expecting to have a meeting on the 3rd of October, as I said. But I'll deal with that in my conclusions. Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to respond to what was raised by Member Robinson, where, again, the terminology heavy weather has been used repeatedly by Member Robinson, which almost gives the impression that what we're speaking about is frivolous. So let me make it clear that Member Robinson has made heavy weather of the fact that the Director of Corruption Investigation has now indicated that he is unable to complete an investigation because he has not received a schedule of assets. Let me tell you something. We live in a country that respects the rule of law. There's no individual in this country that can be compelled to provide something under the law. Every one of us can exercise the right through our attorneys if we receive advice that what is being requested is not within lawful authority. You can respond if you wish to, but you can't be compelled to respond if the request that has been made is one that falls outside of the permit of you being mandated to respond. And it is also essential for us to remember, Chairman, that referring to the two issues that have been raised by the member. Number one, the matter of the statutory declaration is the only matter that raised to the bar that satisfied the standard to even be presented to the Director of Corruption Prosecution for her consideration. That is the matter which she determined, and which you see clearly that the ruling says, upon careful consideration, it was determined that no charges are to be laid. The other matter which the member speaks to did not even it did not rise to the standard. It did not meet satisfactorily the standard required to even be submitted to the Director of Corruption Prosecution for her examination. You don't get the opportunity as a body like the Integrity Commission to say that you have evidence before you, you call on a foreign expert, you expend significant funds to investigate a matter, you don't achieve the goal that you are seeking, but you achieve justice, which is that you're unable to advance it. You don't get the opportunity to now try to redetermine it utilizing external organizations that you could have spoken to and have spoken to within the period of your investigation. Let me just say this. It was raised by the member, and the reference was specifically read out concerning the investigation, and the terminology has been repeated because of the impact it has on the declarant. But why don't we continue to repeat the facts? And the facts are that this Integrity Commission, in keeping with the provisions of several sections of the Act that has been referred, has completed, Chairman, completed its report of investigation into the captioned matter. And the caption is the same caption that my friend continues to read because of the impact that it has on the declarant. That is why I'm saying to you that we have to be extremely careful as a nation. We are at a point now where we're going to be judged. The generations coming are looking on us as a committee to see how we treat with the rule of law. As said by member Malahoo Fort, all of us are subject to the law, and that includes the Integrity Commission. And so we must make sure that our actions are within the parameters of the law. A matter was before them, the matter was investigated, the matter caused for evidence to be gathered, analyzed, determined, and the investigation was completed. Anything further can only be seen in a factual way as an abuse of the process and an effort to achieve a goal that extends beyond that which is within your remit. They must be summoned before us to answer questions. This could never go further in this particular state. It would be an offense to the people of Jamaica, Mr. Chairman.
Chuck? Chairman, you know, I have other comments to make on this report, but we're dealing now, if I understand, specifically with this motion. Or you're saying that when this when we decide that's the final thing?
Well, for one, I am reading from members that there is the need for the Commission to attend upon
no problem, Chairman,
for better and more detailed particulars in relation to the recommendation that have been made. And I'm so minded, but I'll make that final comment at the end.
Right,
so if it is that you have other comments to make in relation,
do it now.
Right, then do it now, so we complete this whole aspect of it, and then two reports are less contentious.
Chairman, may I just say that, as I indicated, a final investigation report was put in on February 19th, 2023. And if you look at what went before, it clearly dealt with a fairly comprehensive set of report that was before the DI. But it is the first or second or third, whatever, it dealt with investigation. Now at that point, Chairman, it's clear somewhere around that point, they decided that they need international help. They got the international help. They also communicated with several local agencies, including the Tax Administration of Jamaica, that they want us to refer this report to also. But at page 27 of the report, it will be seen that they were also in touch with TAJ. So I don't know why they don't want us anymore. But I go further, Chairman, and saying, the MOU that was signed by the IC and the MOU on the, I think the 14th day of December 2021. They could have, in clause, I don't know, but it's something that needs to be asked. When you look at clause 5 of the MOU, it deals with parallel investigation. And it says circumstances may arise when the matter is referred by either party, but a criminal investigation pursued by FID, an investigation of an act of corruption pursued by IC, to continue to run in parallel with each other, but may not be a joint investigation. In such circumstances, both parties shall make reasonable efforts to ensure that frequent dialogue and communication takes place between the parties regarding their respective investigations, operations, or proceedings to ensure the work of one party does not compromise the work of the other. And Clause 6, Chairman, deal with joint investigation. It says a decision may be made by, in the case of FID, the Chief Technical Director, and in the case of the IC, the DI, the Director of Investigation, after approval from the Board of Commissioners or their designate to pursue a joint investigation. Such circumstances may arise where the operational need necessitates, by mutual agreement of the parties, the formation of a joint investigatory team. So, Chairman, this was available to the Integrity Commission. It could have engaged the FID, to the best of my understanding, long before this report is presented here to Parliament. It had problems clearly from February 19th, a year and a half ago. Why didn't it go back to this MOU that it signed with the FID? Why does it submit this report to Parliament and now asking Parliament to refer the matter to TAJ, which they have already done, but now to FID, which they could have done? So, Chairman, as far as I can see, I do not believe that this motion can be supported, because IC would have acted to their own negligence, by their own negligence or failure not to have acted on the MOU. Because what is the purpose of that MOU? If it wasn't to engage the FID when it had concerns about acts of corruption. So I would say, Chairman, that this report, why it was presented to this Parliament without finality, without the FID, it must stand on its own. And where it is at the moment, it has not in any way implicated the Prime Minister. It has shown transactions between companies, moving amount of money, and in moving that money between parties, it has not been able to demonstrate that anything inappropriate or unlawful was done. It has gone into a whole thesis on conflict of interest, and having gone to this thesis on conflict of interest, then concluded there was no evidence of conflict of interest. Why this thesis on conflict of interest when there's no evidence on conflict of interest? Then it has gone into this thesis on illicit enrichment and has found no evidence of illicit enrichment, save and except that there is in the overall asset of the declarant of 201 million, it cannot account for 1.9 million. In other words, less than 1%. And it has to do with putting all of the assets in a company and the Prime Minister's personal asset that came to 201 million. And they found that, having looked at all the expenses over the period of 22, they can't account for 1.9 million. Less than 1%, Prime Minister, Chairman. My view is that it is about time that this report be the final report, and the IC should be mandated to certify the Prime Minister's declaration forthwith, because it has found nothing. It has found nothing that could in any way suggest that there's any wrongdoing. This report, Mr. Chairman, has only 171 pages, plus the appendices to 179, have only put in material that can cause nothing but speculation, but it has nothing that direct to any wrongdoing or inappropriate behavior.
Chairman, not to belabor the issue, but it is critical for two things to be said again. The country is looking on. The confidence in the credibility of the Integrity Commission is paramount. It's a very important institution and one that we have to protect. And I am significantly troubled. I'm concerned by what is clear and apparent effort to delegate responsibility. The Integrity Commission cannot abdicate itself of its duty under its own legislation to do one of two things. Once you have completed your investigation and you sent it for a ruling, it's only one or two things, you know. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. In this case, they have come down and said no charges to be laid. So we must, as a nation, have a response as to why the certification has not already been done. I hear members talking about this must be accepted. It is not that we must accept it as final. The Integrity Commission has said this is final. So no matter what our musings here, they have already said to us, this is the complete investigation. They have repeated it in writing over and over again. So if it is a complete investigation and you are the body with the responsibility under the law to investigate and then to act, you don't get the opportunity to abdicate without there being consequences. And I hope that the declarant will move to protect the country and our reputation and the credibility of this institution by taking the necessary action. Because it has led, I must tell you, beyond those that have been paid to make comments online and who probably are doing so now, the majority of well-thinking Jamaicans have lost trust in the authority of the body because of the conduct and the actions. And as a committee, we have a responsibility. We are an institution that is given a specific power and duty under the law. They must act. And if they don't act, come here and tell us why. What I have seen before me is not an explanation. It is an attempt. And an attempt, I must tell you, to go beyond the parameters of their authority.
Chairman, I just, on a point of order, have to respond to, and I refer now not to Mr. Chuck, but the Minister of Justice. Because just now, the Minister of Justice says that this committee is to mandate the Integrity Commission to certify the Prime Minister's declarations. The Minister knows that this committee has no such or authority or power. It cannot. It absolutely cannot. So I'm hoping that the Minister will retract that. It cannot do so. It cannot do so.
Certainly I never said this committee must mandate. I said the IC should be mandated, not we.
So who's going to mandate?
I think there's some clarity there, member.
I never said we.
Yes. So, Member Malahoo Fort.
Chairman, we have other reports before us that we have not been able to go into, including the annual report.
No. Not the annual report.
This?
No, not the annual report. We've dealt with, in part with the annual report at our last meeting, and that's the subject of the meeting with the IC commissioners on the 3rd of October.
Right. I do believe that we still have to consider what recommendation, if any, that we would report back to the House. And may I propose, in light of the discussion that has taken place, that we defer the making of a recommendation until that meeting with the commissioners?
Yeah.
I put...
You are actually preempting the chairman.
Oh, I see. I'm so sorry. I didn't intend to preempt you.
Yes. I take note of your...
Yes.
Any other contribution? No. So we are then of the view that this motion, having been put, has not found full favor with the committee. However, it is a matter that is being thought through, and further, that there is need for better particulars to be supplied to us by the commissioners themselves. I think much of the discussion has focused around procedural matters, some element of the content of the report, but by and large, it has been largely about procedures, which is part of what our mandate is as per Standing Order 73D. I'm therefore instructing the clerk to write to the commissioners to invite them for the meeting on the 3rd, and at that meeting to include on the agenda the discussions on the report that came, the special report in relation to the Prime Minister.
I'm just seeking clarity procedurally. So you're saying we're not going to vote on the motion. You're going to defer it until the meeting. No. I'm just asking.
Right.
We're not going to vote on it, but we'll defer it until the meeting with the commissioners when they're present.
I'm saying that, and I think you heard I say that it didn't find favor. That it was my view that the motion didn't find favor with the committee.
But you haven't put it to the committee.
Notwithstanding that, certain questions were raised, which I think needs to be addressed by the commissioners, and we would include.
But I think properly, you should put it to the committee.
Well, if you so desire, the chair can put it to the committee. I just wanted to avoid that, since the flow of the discussions were quite clear as to the sentiment of the committee. But if you insist, of course, it's within your right so to ask for. Yes.
For the avoidance of doubt, I have indicated that the motion does not find favor with me for reason that it is asking me to do what the commission has already done and is empowered to do.
Exactly. The details as to the why it didn't find favor has already been stated. And if we want, I will put it to the vote. So those in favor of the motion? Those against? Okay. Well, it's very clear that the motion has been defeated. No, Chairman, don't vote on these matters. The other two matters that are before us relates to the recommendations from the Integrity Commission with regards to the allegations of irregularities and conflict of interest in relation to the operations of the Carl Rattray Staff College, Department of Correctional Services, and the recommendations are here, I put the report before the committee. Soft copies were sent to everybody. Yes.
No, that's not what he said. He said that once it makes a recommendation, we must accept it.
No, I'm sure that's not what he means.
Chairman, will you allow me?
No, we consider it.
Chairman, will you allow me to respond to that? Please? Thank you. I am not going to interpret what he meant. I am speaking to what he said, and I take issue with what he said. I do not find it proper, for example, for the committee or the parliament to be asked to exercise a power that is granted to someone else in law. A proper ask of us is to pass laws to consider matters. So I cannot, having regard to recommendations made, examples of recommendations made, concur with the view of Mr. Paulwell that once a recommendation is made, it must be accepted. We must interrogate and see whether the recommendation is an appropriate recommendation against the objects of the law and our own duty under the law.
Just for clarity, I just wanted to say this quickly. Yes, and you will, but for the benefit of everyone, under my chairmanship, we don't rubber stamp any recommendation. Full stop.
Chairman, I have sat on this committee for quite some time, and we have never denied a specific recommendation in any of the reports that we have received, and largely based on your guidance that our role here is not to come and second guess the Integrity Commission. There are issues that are raised in the annual report dealing with budget and staffing and those things that we have the right to deal with. But when it comes to the end of a process of investigation or even interim, it has never been your direction to us to object to recommendations made by the Integrity Commission. Indeed, if you can show me one instance of this, then I will pause.
Right. So, member, you are quite correct that over time we haven't. And the reason we haven't, and the reason is not that we didn't find that there were issues, is that in all of our investigations, we found favor with the recommendations. But if indeed there are recommendations which you don't find favor with, it is our duty to make that known and to invite the Commission to give us better and further particulars so as to assist us in making a decision on the recommendation. And this is the case in this instance.
Since it has been placed on the table, I just want to make it clear that as a member of the Oversight Committee, I have no intention of simply accepting what has been put before us. An Oversight Committee has the responsibility of monitoring, reviewing, and ensuring accountability and transparency. Why then would you have an Oversight Committee? We should all then head out and allow it just to go where whatever the Integrity Commission wants to put to Parliament. They can just go straight to Parliament. We are here to carry out our function. So I just want to make it clear, lest persons who are listening believe that that statement relates to all of us as members.
The recommendations are before you in relation to the Department of Correctional Services, and is it your advice and direction that they be tabled? No, for parliamentary report. I'm surprised to hear.
It would help, Chairman, on the other reports if a short summary of the recommendations or some one-pager could be provided. I will admit I am not sufficiently au fait with the recommendations from those two reports. So right. if a short summary, if you could read it, but it's difficult for me to support it without knowing what they are.
I made the assumption that everyone read them because the soft copy was to have been sent to everyone. So if it is that members have not read the report, I will urge you to read the report. Our next meeting is October 3, and at that meeting we will then consider these. Any other business? Any other business? This meeting is now adjourned until Thursday, the 3rd